Hey there guys and all you Sims 3 fans. My name is Robbie and I'm making the Sims 3 YouTube channel here. This video is going to be focused on showing you some stuff with the gardening skill for the Sims 3. As you can see, I've already got a sim set up and a lot set up, and I don't have anything on the lot other than painting the ground, which I'll talk about that in a different video. But with this one, I've got it set up ready for doing the gardening skill, and the paint that I wound up using on the ground helps to be able to see the plants better, or in my opinion it helps to see the plants better. As you can see down here in the skills tab, my sim currently has no skills, as this is just a game that I just started for the purpose of the video. So what we're going to do is I'm going to jump right into showing you how you can get right in to start your gardening skill. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the world map by hitting the M button, and I'm going to go over here to the icon of the grocery cart, which is this grocery store, and we're going to shop for groceries. I'm going to right click on my sim so I zoom into him and it'll follow him wherever I go. We're going to go in fast speed to get to there quickly. And as you see, we got to the grocery store, although you didn't get to see that because the time portal appeared from starting a new game. But that'll be a whole nother video. But here at the grocery store, we have a pop-up on the window, and you see different filters right here. And the filter I'm going to choose is produce, and that'll list the vegetables and fruits that you're able to purchase at the grocery store, as well as some other food items that might be mixed in with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just click on each one, about 4 or 5 different vegetables and fruits here. I'm going to double click on them to add them to the shopping cart over here on the right hand side. I'm just going to get one of each. And the great thing about the gardening skill is you can actually plant the food. As you can see, I'm buying the actual food. You can plant the actual food, and you don't have to actually get a seed to start gardening. And as you can see over here on the right hand side in the shopping cart, each time I double click on something, it's adding it to the shopping cart and increasing how much I'm going to pay once I hit buy items. This gardening skill is very handy as far as you're able to grow your own food and you don't have to go buy food. Plus you have the option of using it as a career, and you don't have to go to work at a typical job. You can just do gardening and sell the vegetables that you grow and harvest and earn money that way. I'm going to go ahead and click on buy items, and I'm going to let this stuff go through and get it out of the way. This time portal, I'm going to put it inside the inventory, that way it's not in the way. I'm going to put the basket in there as well, and I'm going to right click on my Sim's avatar down here at the bottom to zoom in to my Sim again. where I'm at the grocery store. I'm going to click the option to go home. And also, when I was over here in the inventory, if you noticed, there is the food that I just bought from the grocery store. And you can see as I hover over some of these, it'll come up, show you a pop-up with the name of the food, what kind of quality that food is. Most of the stuff you get from the grocery store is going to be nice quality. And it'll tell you how rare each item is. And it'll tell you the fertilizer strength of that item also. And I'll talk about the rarity and the quality and the fertilizer strength in a little bit. And I'm going to unpause the game and tell this mascot to leave so I can continue showing you how to do this gardening. Okay. Now we're going to get into starting to plant these items. If you remember, over here in the skills tab, I had no skills. So we'll go back to the inventory tab, and I'm going to click on this banana, and you'll see that you have the option to eat it, or give it as a gift, or plant. The banana, it would appear, you need to be level 7 in order to plant it. So we won't be able to plant it yet. So we'll check some of these other items. And the apple you're able to plant. So I'll click on the plant option. We're just going to go over here a little bit. And we're going to click where we want to plant it at. And once that's planted, I'm going to pause the game and plant some more. And if you notice there, after planting that one apple, a little meter shows up above my Sim's head, indicating how much I'm earning from planting that in the gardening skill. And if I hover over what I just planted, it'll show what was planted, and it'll automatically be a tree. Since the apple will grow on a tree, it's going to be an apple tree, so it'll switch over to a tree. And it shows what the quality of that apple tree is, and the growth state, and how rare that particular plant or tree is. Now I'm going to check on these other ones to see if I'm able to plant them. And what I normally do when I start gardening is I will space my items out and put the trees behind the regular plants, since the trees get kind of big and the plants are smaller. That way I can see the plants and the trees. Then I'm going to leave a space in between there, in between the tree and the plant. Then I'm going to move my Sim over out of the way so I can continue planting. And if you noticed, I got a little more in that progress bar above my head from planting that Maui bean plant. Now that I'm out of the way, I'm going to go back to planting some more. And each plant or tree, you need to be a certain level in order to plant it. And if you remember, over here in the skills tab, I don't have any skills, so I don't have the level I need to plant some of them. And when I get done planting here, I'll explain why I leave a space between the trees and the plants. I'm just going to go 5 wide on the plants here, and I'll explain that here in a second also. And I'll put a space between there as well, because I like to keep a space between each row. And it appears that kelp is not plantable. And I filled up my queue, my action queue there. And as you can see, my progress bar is continuing to fill up just from planting these food items I just purchased. And as I plant each item, it takes it out of the inventory. And as you see, that meter filled up completely one time. So I'm going to pause the game and go over here to the skills tab. And you see now that I have a level 1 gardening skill. And to the right of that is a button to open the skill journal. So I'm going to go ahead and open that skill journal up by clicking that button, or you could hit the J button and it'll bring another pop-up and it'll give you a description of the gardening skill, and below that the statistics. It'll tell you how many plants you've planted, and since I started right in with planting to help my gardening skill, I've got 8 plants planted so far, and it tells you unique plants planted at 13%, which means that I've planted 13% of the different types of plants in the game so far. And below that, it tells you how many items you've harvested, which is at 0 right now. And then perfect items harvested, meaning how many items were of perfect quality that you've harvested so far, which that's 0 right now. And that's where it was talking about when I hovered over each food. It was talking about the quality. That's what that is referring to. And then it tells you how many unknown seeds you've planted, which we know what all the stuff is that I've planted so far. So that shows 0. And it'll tell you the best item you've harvested so far. Since I haven't harvested anything yet, it'll say nothing. And tell you how much money you've earned from gardening, which I'll discuss that later. And then your largest money bag harvested. Yes, you can harvest money bags. They have, if you're lucky enough to run across a money tree seed, you can grow a money tree and harvest the money bags from that money tree. which is another way you can earn money with gardening. And then below that, you have your challenges. As you can see, a master planter. A master planter has planted 19 different plants that can be planted in the game. Once you've mastered the varieties, you will be able to reduce weed growth significantly on future plants. Then you have the botanical boss. They must have harvested at least 75 perfect fruits and vegetables. Again, talking about the quality of the fruit and vegetable when you harvest it. After so many perfect harvestables, the plants of botanical bosses almost never die from neglect. Meaning you can let them get weeds and go without water and stuff like that, and they're less likely to die from doing so. A master farmer, they've harvested at least 650 fruits and vegetables. Their plants remain watered and fertilized longer, meaning their gardens are more efficient. And I'll discuss the watering and fertilizing here in a little bit. And then down below that, you have your plant history, meaning what plants you've planted so far. And if you hover over each one here, it'll give you a description of that plant. And then beside that, you have number harvested, self-explanatory, meaning how many of that particular fruit or vegetable you've harvested. And then it'll tell you beside that what the highest quality of that particular plant you have harvested. So we'll close that out. And I'm going to go back to the inventory and unpause the game and finish planting the rest of my food that I purchased. And then move my sim out of the way. We'll pause the game momentarily so I can scroll back up here. Actually, I'll scroll to the bottom here and continue planting. And as you can see, I now have some seeds here due to getting the gardening skill. And we'll go ahead and plant these seeds. And as far as how much you plant, it is entirely up to you how big you want your garden to be. But keep in mind, the bigger your garden is, the longer it will take to maintain your garden. And you see there the meter has filled up another time, putting me at level 2 in the gardening skill. Now I'm going to move my sim out of the way. I'm going to pause the game here. And I'm going to go back to the top and double check through these various foods that we purchased to see if any more are available to be planted at my current gardening level. I'm going to go ahead and sell that kelp real quick to get it out of the way, since we can't plant it. And as you can see, there is a lot of vegetables and fruits that can be planted. I'll pause the game. I'm going to go back to the skills tab here, and you can see I'm almost to level 3 in the gardening skill. I'm going to open the skill journal up, and it now shows I've planted 20 plants, and I have planted 24% of the different plants that are available. And down here in the plant history, it lists all the plants I've planted so far. And after we close that out, I'm going to go to the map of the main world, the home world again, and I'm going to show you at the science lab, you have an option to attend a gardening class for 400 simoleons. And we will go ahead and do that. And zoom back to my sim. And what that is going to do is, if you don't want to get right into gardening by going and buying some fruits and vegetables, you can take that gardening class and it will get you started in the gardening skill as well. So we'll travel over there to the science lab to take that gardening class. And that is something you can do even after you start gardening. You can go ahead and take that gardening class to gain some extra skill level in your gardening skill. We'll speed the game up just a tad. And as you see up here in the top left corner, the gardening class, it's telling you how much of it you've completed so far. And now that gardening class has been completed, and you see now that I'm just over halfway to level 4 in the gardening skill from taking that gardening class. And another option you have for starting your gardening skill is, I'm going to go to the world map again, and we're going to go to the library in this town or world. Once I'm able to locate it, there it is. We're going to visit the library. I'll put it in fast speed so we get there quicker. And once we're there, I'm going to check the bookcases here. And I'm going to read and look for a gardening book. As you can see right here, we have the Gardening Volume 2. There are 3 volumes for each skill that you're able to read. The Volume 1 book will cover levels 1, 2, and 3 on each skill, depending on which skill book you read. Volume 2 will cover levels 4, 5, and 6. And then Volume 3 will cover levels 7, 8, 9, and 10. And if you remember, I am at level 3 on the gardening skill, so I'm not able to read the Volume 1 of the gardening skill books. So it wouldn't even show up in here as an option to read it. And Volume 2 you can read once you hit level 3. So I will go ahead and select read that book. We're going to go get the book over here and take it to sit down and start reading it. And with all the other skills as well as gardening skill, the higher your skill is, the longer it will take to get to the next level. So I'm going to put it in fast speed for a little bit to get through that quicker. And you can see the meter above my head for the gardening skill increasing as I read that book. I am now at level 4 of the gardening skill, and I'll continue to read that. And with that being volume 2, it'll let me get level 4, 5, and 6 as I mentioned a minute ago. And there's level 5. And the thing with the library, if you're not high enough level to read the book, I'm going to pause the game for a second. We're going to go back to the same bookcase. Select read. And we're going to scroll through here, and you'll see that there is not a volume 3 for the gardening skill. So with that being mentioned, I'm going to go back over here. We're going to finish reading this book the rest of the way to get to level 6. And as you see, the book has been completed. I am now at level 6. And I will now click on that same bookcase and select read. And you'll see that now the volume 3 for gardening is there. So I'll go ahead and read that. And we'll take our level up to level 7. If you remember, in the inventory, a lot of the plants you needed to be at level 7 to read or to plant those items, which on a away lot, it's not going to show anything as far as being able to plant it until I get back to the house. As you see, when I clicked on it, planting allowed only on home lot. And now I am at level 7 in the gardening skill. We'll cancel that reading out, and I'm going to do something else here and read volume 1 in the handiness, which this is going to come into play here in a few minutes. And what I'm going to do is get my handiness to level 4, and I'll explain what's going on with that here in a second. We've got a level 3 handiness. And now I'm going to go back here and I'm going to read volume 2 on the handiness. Just enough to get to level 4 in handiness. But I'll cover the handiness skill in another video. This is just right here, what I'm doing with the handiness is going to come into play here in just a few seconds now. And now that I'm at level 4 handiness, I'm going to cancel that reading out and click the option to go home. We'll go on fast speed for a little bit, get home quicker. Now that we're home, after doing that reading, you see here that your plants are starting to sprout. If I hover over here, you see that the growth state on quite a few of them now says sprout. As well as you'll notice that there is a bunch of grass around some of them, and you now can click on those that have that grass. And the best thing I've found, and a lot of other people do, is to do the option for tinned garden. And we'll do that tinned garden. And what that's going to do is just do it one time, and it will go through each plant in the garden and do whatever item or actions are needed for that plant. and will unpause the game and let you watch that in action, instead of having to click on each plant and select, as you've seen with this one, water, weed, fertilize, dispose. Instead of doing that with each plant and doing each action with each plant, if you just do the tend garden, it'll do all those actions as they're needed to all the plants. As you can see with this first one, I'm weeding it. And with each gardening action, you gain gardening skill level. It helps to increase your skill level with the gardening skill. As you can see, that it's been weeded, and now I'm watering it. And if you remember, I had the option to fertilize, and I'm going to show you about that here in a few minutes. We'll speed the game up a little bit. Complete these actions a little quicker. And as you see, some of them only needed watered. And I'm going to move out of the way over here. And if you look here at the gardening skill, I'm at level 7. And we'll go back to the inventory. And you'll see now I am able to plant these other food items that I wasn't able to earlier, because I'm at the level that is required to plant those items. I'm going to start another section right here, because as I said, I like to keep my rows at around 5. But it is entirely up your own personal preference as to how you set your gardens up and how big you want your gardens to be. And I've filled the action queue up. We'll go on fast speed for a second. And then move out of the way. We'll plant some more. And if you notice here on this pumpkin, you have the option to carve a jack-o'-lantern out of it or plant it. It all depends on what you prefer to do when you get ready to do anything with it. But for the purpose of the video, I'm going to go ahead and plant it. Pause the game for a minute. Go back to the skills tab. Let's see, I'm almost at level 8. Then we'll open the skill journal, and you'll see that it now shows I've planted 41 plants. I've planted 57% of the types of plants. And down below in the challenges, you'll see that it now shows I've completed the Master Planter Challenge by planting at least 19 types of plants. And that will help to reduce my weed growth on future plants. Then scrolling down to the plant history, you'll see that my plants that I've planted is pretty extensive now. And going back up to the top here and looking at that I've planted 41 plants, we'll keep that number in mind. We'll close that out. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the world map here. I'm going to go to the grocery store and shop for groceries. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy some fertilizer. I had mentioned to you about fertilizing your plants, and the thing about fertilizing is you can use almost any type of food, or probably any food that you get at the grocery store or grow, and you can use it for fertilizer. And the best I have come across so far is in the fish. Going to the fish filter and getting tuna. So what I'll do is I'll double click on that tuna, and if you remember, we have planted 41 plants. So I'll go ahead and type in 41 in the quantity in the shopping cart to purchase 41 tuna. And then click on buy items. Pause the game. I'm going to go to the inventory here. We're going to hover over this tuna. And separate one of them from it. And hover over it. And we'll see down at the bottom here, it says fertilizer strength great, which is really good for using as fertilizer. So we'll go back to the house. going to minimize this message window up here. And what we're going to do, we're going to click on one of these plants here and click on the option to fertilize garden with best fertilizers. And now it's going to use that tuna to fertilize each plant. And as I said, with each action you do with the garden, it helps increase your skill level with the gardening skill. And as you can see here, the plants are starting to need tending again. We'll go on fast speed for a little bit, get through the fertilizing process quicker. And each one that's been fertilized, the soil becomes darker, indicating it's been fertilized. And as you see, I've fertilized all the plots with that tuna. And if you hover over it, it'll show the strength of the fertilizer that you've used. And now what I'm going to do is, I mentioned you saw me doing that, upgrade my handiness skill. I'm going to go to the buy mode here, and we'll go to appliances, miscellaneous. We're going to tilt the screen up like this so we can see from a top-down view. And you see here the sprinkler that you have, you can buy. And I'm going to click on that. And what I'm going to do is, if you see here, I've got it in the center of the 5 plants. Well, like I said, I keep my plants around 5 wide, so I can put the sprinkler in the center one. And you see the outline of what plants that sprinkler is going to water at wherever you place it at. So I'm going to place it right where I have it now. Then I'm going to get another one for this other side, and it's okay if it overlaps, that won't hurt anything. What I normally do is I'll have a sprinkler at where I have them now, and then I'll go to the next row and then go back another row, about like that. And I'll go ahead and place another one right here. And we'll tilt back down here and go back to live mode. And now this is where the handiness skill comes in, and why I upgraded it to level 4, because at level 4 you have the option to upgrade that sprinkler to auto water. So I'm going to go ahead and upgrade all 4 of those to auto water. And then go on fast speed to get that upgrade done quicker, because the upgrades do take a little bit longer. And what that auto water does is at around 4 o'clock every morning, those sprinklers that are upgraded with auto water will water your garden automatically, so you don't have to go turn them on yourself. And that will cut away one of the actions that you have to do to your garden. Which will allow you to spend more time doing the weeding and fertilizing and harvesting once they're ready for harvest. And it looks like one of the auto water upgrades got canceled, so we'll click it again. That does tend to happen sometimes. It appears something is keeping me from being able to get to there. Okay, let me go over here. Okay, something's stopping me from getting there, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the sprinkler where I can get to it just momentarily, long enough so I can upgrade it. And that sprinkler is upgraded now. And now I'm going to move it back to where it was. And now, what I'm going to do is click on one of the plants here that has weeds all around it. Select the option for tend garden. We're going to go through and tend the garden. And if you notice in the top left corner here in the action queue, it shows a progress bar for each action that you're completing with the garden. We'll speed the game up a little bit here. And if you notice here, I mentioned that I keep an empty row between each row of plants. That helps in order to get to the plants better from either side so you can take care of them. And it looks like the garden tendon is complete now. I'm going to recycle these papers to get them out of the way here. Going back to the skills tab, you can see I'm now at level 8 in the gardening skill. We're going to open that skill journal up. We've got 57% unique plants planted. And that's about the only difference so far. I'm going to speed the game up for a little bit in order to show you the sprinklers activating automatically. And as I said, when you have the auto water upgrade on the sprinklers, it's around 4 o'clock in the morning, as you see here at the bottom, that those sprinklers will turn on by themselves and water your entire garden for you as far as they can reach, if you remember the outline when you placed them. And as I said, that upgrade can only be completed once you have your handiness at level 4. And like I said, the handiness skill will be in another video. I only showed you in this one because I didn't have it done beforehand. And you see here that this sprout has begun to grow now. And some of your plants are starting to need tending. So we'll go ahead and click on one that needs tending and select the tend option. And if you notice, again, I mentioned the quality of the plant. And that is something that the fertilizer will help to increase over time, as long as you keep the plant fertilized. Feel like that midnight bean plant is normal quality. And that was pretty convenient that I moved out of the way all by myself. Didn't have to direct myself to do it. And we'll pause the game. And I'm going to show you, I told you about the making money with the gardening skill. We're going to go to the world map. And we're going to go to City Hall and register as self-employed, and you'll see here as a gardener. We're going to go do that real quick. And down here at the bottom, in the career tab, you'll see it listed I'm unemployed and I don't have a job right now. And once we get to City Hall to register as a self-employed gardener, you'll get a pop-up in the left corner here asking you to confirm if you want to register as a self-employed gardener. And it'll tell you the responsibilities of doing this career. So we're going to click the check mark. And you now see down here in the career tab, I'm listed as a gardener at level 1 in that career. The level in the career is separate from your skill level. And each level in the career has a different title. The level 1 gardener is titled Cucumber Smasher, and it'll give you a description if you hover over the title. And down below that, it'll tell you how much you've earned total in this career, which I just started, so I have earned 0 so far. And then the next option, or next item, it'll tell you how much funds you need to be promoted to the next level in that career. Which this one I need 30 simoleons to get to level 2. And then it'll tell you what hours you're supposed to work. Since you're self-employed, you set your own hours so you can work whenever. Then over here in the right hand side, you'll see the responsibilities for your career. And you're just making money by selling the vegetables and fruits that you've grown. And down below it'll show how far or how much experience you've earned in that particular level in the career. And in the skill journal, that is where the money earned comes in to play as far as in the career. Or if you start selling before you get the career going as a gardener, or if you select a different career, you can still sell your vegetables and fruits and still earn money from your gardening, whether you're doing the gardening career or not. It'll still show how much you've earned from selling your harvestables. And going back home, and on the way home, I'm going to mention down in the description of this video, there are several links directing you to where you can purchase The Sims 3 and the expansion packs and the stuff packs from Amazon. So feel free to check that out, and if you want to expand your collection, or you're missing some of the expansion packs and stuff packs, or if you're just wanting to get the base game, you have a direct link down here in the description of the video. And as I mentioned, those links will allow you to purchase those items from Amazon. And opening the skill journal back up, if you recall here in the statistics, it talks about unknown seeds planted. I am now going to show you how you can go about getting seeds instead of the actual food items. So I'm going to go to the Lifetime Happiness tab here, since I didn't do this before starting the video. Go to the Lifetime Rewards, and I'm going to bring up and purchase what is called a collection helper. And the Lifetime Rewards and how to earn them and everything will be covered in another video. I'm just doing this now because I forgot to do it before the video. And if you hover over the collection helper, it's going to give you a description of what it is. I'm going to double click on that to purchase it. And that item goes directly into your inventory here. And what I'm going to do is click on it, and you'll see that there is a bunch of different options to choose from here. And I'm going to select the seeds. We're going to unpause the game after selecting seeds. I'm going to go to the world map now. And what we're going to do is we're going to scroll around the world map with the game unpaused. And we're going to look for special icons here. Like right here. We have two locations here with seeds. And if you look close enough, you'll see that there's a seed here. I'm going to click on that seed and have the option to pick it up. So I'm going to click on that and do that. And there was another one close by here, so I'll just scroll on over. And you'll see when I hover over it, it's an unknown rare seed. And it tells how rare that seed is too. So we'll click on that and select pick up. And then we're going to go back to the world map and see if we can locate some more of those icons. And here's one right here. We'll click on it and hover over it. And we'll see that it's a mushroom. And we'll click on it. I clicked the wrong spot by accident there. And select pick up. Then we'll go back to the world map and see if we can find any more by just scooting around the map. And these seeds can be pretty much anywhere in the world, really. And the types that you find are completely random also. And as you can see, those two first ones have already been picked up, and I'm on my way to that third one now. And after a little while, after you've collected those seeds from those locations, they will replenish, possibly being different seeds. And that appears to be all that is showing up right now. I'm going to zoom in to my character there, speed the game up a little bit to get to that final seed. And that is how you can go about finding seeds. And now he's automatically going home, which is what I was going to do anyways. We'll put it in fast speed so we get home quicker. And those seeds, I'm now going to plant them. And with these unknown seeds, I tend to plant them in a different spot since you don't have any idea what they are until they start growing. They could be a tree, they could be a plant, or you might get lucky and it be a money tree seed. As you see, I hover over this unknown seed and it's stating unknown plant. And that was 3 seeds there. We're going to go back to the skill journal here. And you'll see now in the statistics, I have planted 1 unknown seed. And a total of 44 plants. Remembering that 44 now, I'm going to go back to the grocery store. And I'm going to buy some more tuna to be ready for fertilizing again. Because it's probably getting close to time for your plants that you already fertilized to need some more fertilizer. Plus it'll be enough to cover the ones you just planted, them seeds you just planted. Well, actually what I'm going to do instead of tuna, I'm going to try some salmon this time. I'm going to plant 40 or buy 44 of those. Go back to the inventory. I'm going to pull one of those from this stack and move it up here and hover over it, and we'll see that the fertilizer strength of it is also great, which is what the tuna was as well. And we'll go back to the house. We're going to check the plants here to see if they might need any attention. We'll tilt the screen a little bit so we can see it better. And what I'm going to do on these 3 seeds that I just planted, I'm going to go ahead and fertilize. And then get this newspaper out of the way. As you can see, the growth state of these plants are at various stages right now. And while we're sitting here just waiting around, I'm going to show you something else in the lifetime happiness and the lifetime rewards. There is an option or reward in here that you can purchase that will help your gardening quite a bit. The Super Green Thumb. And as you can see with me hovering over it, it gives a description. If you want to grow the best, most vibrantly delicious and organically superior plants, you must simply go super. And with that lifetime reward, when you harvest your plants, you can take the harvested plant and plant it, or the harvested food and plant it, and it will grow at the next quality level higher. If you see here, if I harvest this Kona bean plant at normal quality, when I go to plant that Kona bean, it will plant it at the next quality level higher than normal. And that is how you can end up, if you recall in the Steel Journal, highest quality. That is how you can end up getting perfect quality on your plants. If you recall here in the challenges, the botanical boss must harvest at least 75 perfect quality fruits and vegetables. So it'll take a little bit of time until you can get those plants at a perfect quality. But that Super Green Thumb lifetime reward will help you achieve that. And now I'm going to go to the world map here. We're going to go to the bookstore, and this is another option for learning to garden if you don't want to mess with going to the library and you want to purchase those 3 books I showed you at the library to keep in your bookcase at home for other people to use them. You can go to the bookstore here and buy those books and place them in your bookcase at home. That way you can have the option, if you have more than one person in your house, you can reuse those books with different people in your house. And now that the bookstore shopping dialogue is open, we're going to go to the skill filter here, and you'll see that it lists all the skill books that are able to be purchased. I'm going to double click on the 3 gardening books to add them to the shopping cart. And the difference between the library, going to the library and doing it, reading them for free, and buying the books from the bookstore is, with the library, it's only going to show you the books that you're able to read with your current skill level, whereas at the bookstore it's going to show you all the books, and then you can go ahead and purchase whatever books you want. And back in the inventory here, we'll go to volume 1. Even though you purchased it or already gotten everything you can from that volume 1 book, you're still able to purchase it and place it in your bookcase. Same with the volume 2, you've already gotten everything you can from that book, but you can purchase them and put them in your bookcase. And say you got a wife or girlfriend living with you, got kids that are of a certain age, they can go to that bookcase and pick that book out, and they can read it themselves. And on another note with the gardening skill, if your logic skill is high enough, you can tutor a sim and pass on your knowledge. Say like if we're at level 8 on the gardening skill, if my logic skill was high enough, I could tutor another sim in gardening and teach them up to the level that I am at in gardening, which would help if you went to the library and read the books there yourself and then went home. You could teach your family that same gardening skill without having to purchase the books or take them to the library to read the books, and they would end up at the same level as you in that skill. And we'll speed the game up a little bit. Well, actually what I'm going to do is go buy a chair real quick. Just going to get a cheap one here. We'll set it right here in front of the garden. And I'm going to go ahead and read some on this volume 3 gardening book, while we're sitting here waiting for the plants to get to where we can harvest them. That way we're kind of being productive while we're waiting for the harvest to become ready. Then I'll speed the game up. I also want to mention, while we're sitting here just reading this book, increasing our gardening skill, if this video is helping you out any with the Sims 3 gardening skill, I'd greatly appreciate if you hit that little icon down in the bottom right corner of the video and click the subscribe option, and then turn your notifications on so you know when I upload new videos. And you're more than welcome to check out my other Sims 3 content on the channel. I've got quite a few videos already on there with other skills and how to help increase those skills as well. And we see some of the plants, or quite a few of the plants, are getting to where they need to be tended. So we'll go ahead and click on one and select Tend Garden. We're now at level 9 in the gardening skill. And we see as I hover over the apple tree here, it is now at a growth state of harvest. So what I'm going to do is cancel this reading, and since I've already selected the option for tending, I'm going to leave it there. And we're going to go tend the garden, and in the process of tending the garden, it's going to harvest the apple tree as well as any others that are ready to be harvested. We'll speed it up a little bit. And you'll see that there's several other plants here that are ready to be harvested, and it's harvesting them, while at the same time increasing my skill level to 10, since I'm almost to level 10 on the gardening skill. And that has completed. And what I'm going to do now is pause the game. We're going to go to the skill tab and open the skill journal for gardening. And you'll see now it lists that I've harvested 36 plants or vegetables and fruits and vegetables. And it also lists that my best harvestable was a quality of very nice. And if you scroll down to the plant history, it now shows that I've harvested some apples, and they were the highest quality of the apples that I've harvested so far was very nice quality. Just keep scrolling here. We got a cortada bean plant, very nice quality. Keep going, and it shows the other plants I've harvested and their quality. And now we're going to close that out. And what I'm going to do is go back to the inventory here, and I'm going to pull one of each of these plants off, or items off, I should say. This way we get one of each. Just a few of them. I'm going to hover over, and you'll see that this apple, of course, like I said in the skill journal, very nice quality. And I'm going to click on that and select the plant option. We're going to plant that apple. Pause the game, and as you see, like I mentioned earlier, with this Super Green Thumb lifetime rewards, that apple was very nice quality, and with that Super Green Thumb, it upgraded it to an excellent quality when I planted it. And that is how you will increase, one way of increasing the quality of your fruits and vegetables to get to the perfect quality. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and plant some more of these. Like I said, I try to keep the trees planted in back of the actual plants. go through and plant those. We'll speed the game up a little bit. I'm not going to plant all of the stuff that I just harvested. And then we're going to click on these. Oh, actually you can see, if you recall, they were all very nice quality when I harvested them. And they are now showing, like I said, as excellent quality. And that one's been upgraded to great quality. And as you can tell or see here, the quality of this lime tree is one color because I planted it without that super green thumb. And this one, since I planted it with that lifetime reward, is a different quality, indicating that it was planted with the super green thumb lifetime reward. So I'll go ahead and click on one of these and select fertilize with best fertilizer. Speed the game up a little bit. And that is completed. And now we're going to go back to the skill tab or the career tab here. And you'll notice, remember, that I need to make 30 simoleons to get my promotion to level 2 in the gardening career. So what I'm going to do, well, let me show you here in the skill journal again. It shows you how much money you've earned with the gardening skill at 0 right now. So what I'm going to do is go to the inventory here, and I'm going to hold on one of these and drag it over here to this simoleon symbol to sell that head of lettuce for 4 simoleons. It's going to ask you to confirm. We're going to do so. And we're going to go back to this career tab, and you'll see that it now shows you've earned 4 simoleons total in this career. And you now only need to sell 26 simoleons worth of vegetables and fruit. And go back to the skills tab and the skill journal, and it shows you've earned 4 simoleons in the gardening skill. Then close that out. And what I'm going to do is go to the map of the home world again. We're going to go to the grocery store, and you'll see that you now have the option to sell fruits and vegetables, and it's going to show you how much you're going to earn from doing so. We're going to select that and open the career tab back up, and we're going to go to the grocery store and sell all the fruits and vegetables that are in the inventory. And as you remember here, the funds to promotion is only 26 simoleons, and all those fruits and vegetables are going to sell for 242 simoleons. And selling for that much, it jumped from level 1 in the gardening career to level 3 in the gardening career. And the title of my level has changed. And it now shows that I've made 246 simoleons in this career so far. And I now need 359 simoleons to get to level 4 in the gardening career. So going back to the skills tab in the skill journal, you see that I have now been updated in the money earned in there to 246 simoleons. So we'll close that out and click the button to go back home. I'm going to go back to the inventory and read some more on this volume 3 book for gardening while we're waiting for some more stuff to need to be done to the garden. We'll speed the game up a little bit. That way we can go ahead and get to level 10 in the gardening skill. And another note on the gardening career, there are certain levels where you'll get a bonus amount of simoleons. And I believe there are some levels where you get free seeds also once you hit that level. And at around 4 o'clock in the morning, the sprinklers came on by themselves, since I did have them upgraded to auto water. And see an apple right there. And then the apple tree is ready for harvest, so there may be some other plants that are ready for harvest. But we'll let that gardening skill get to level 10 first. It's almost there. And now my gardening skill has been mastered at level 10, and that is the case with any of your skills. Once you get to level 10, you're a master of that skill. And here in a little while, I'll show you something with that mastering your skills. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and select the option for 10 garden. We're going to go through and harvest, water, weed, and fertilize anything that might need to be done to the plants that you have. We'll speed the game up a little bit. You'll see that the inventory is filling up with the plants that I'm harvesting. And now I'm going to click on one of these and fertilize with best fertilizers. I stand corrected on fertilizing being included in the tinned garden option. And it's going to go through and fertilize these plants. And it may not wind up fertilizing all of them because I may not have enough fish in my inventory to do so. Well, actually, it will use the plants I just harvested to fertilize with too. And going back to the skills journal here for the gardening, you'll see I've now harvested 83 items. My best harvestable is great. And down here in the plant history, we've got a few more that are populated. We'll close that out and go back to the map. We're going to go sell the fruits and vegetables that we just harvested. If you see here, you're going to make 234 simoleons, and you need 359 to get to the next level in the career. So that'll put us a lot closer to getting level 4 in the gardening career. And those fruits and vegetables have been sold and earned the money. And you'll see that I only need 125 simoleons in order to get level 4 in the gardening career. And I've earned a total of 480 simoleons so far in this career. And in the skill journal, it indicates the same thing and the money earned. So as you can see, being a gardener can be a really lucrative or money-making opportunity for your sim, as well as providing food for your house, as far in being able to learn recipes to use the plants you harvest and make different dishes, which that will be covered in the cooking video that I made, and a completely different subject there. But with all this, I hope that this video has been really helpful in introducing you to the gardening skill and showing you ways to get started in the gardening skill and how you can make money with it, and give you ideas on other stuff that you can do with the gardening skill, and shown you how to maximize your gardening skill and maintain your plants and keep them healthy. And I hope that you'll hit that subscribe option down in the bottom right corner of the video, and you'll take a look at my other videos on the channel. And you're more than welcome to hit those links in the description to get other Sims 3 stuff packs and expansion packs for the base game if you might still need it or want to get into playing the game. That's an option. And I hope to catch you with some other videos. Until then, keep your creations as extreme as you want them, or as calm as you want them, however you want them to do them, and keep the Sims happy. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you'll subscribe and watch my other videos.